Hi, I'm the Smoking Cheddar, but you probably already knew that. So welcome to part 3 of the deep dive into the artillery, and today we're looking at the Liberty gun. So this one, if you're going to pick any piece of artillery in the game, this is the staple, this is the go-to, this is the one that you must have if you're going to have just at least one piece of artillery. We all know it, we all love it. So as always guys, make sure your headphones are in, make sure you've got a drink and possibly a snack. If you're sitting on your phone on the sofa, make sure your wife or your girlfriend or your partner is busy watching CSI Miami or whatever it is they like to watch, and relax, because we're going to kick in for a nice deep dive. As always, we'll be looking at the tech, we'll be looking at the unit, we'll be looking at the officers, and there's a correction this week which we will cover as well, and I'll cover that when we get to the officers. But if you've been following the posts, you'll know what I mean. Anyway, let's crack on. So as always, we're looking at the advanced artillery tree. So you're probably pretty sick of seeing this by now, and you already know where we're going with this. Of course, it's God of War, and when your artillery attacks, there's a 10% chance your next load time is reduced by 40%. This is pretty much the core of your Liberty Howitzer, and it's something that you're going to need to remember as always going forwards. And also we're looking at automatic loading devices. When there are no enemies within 2 map grids of the howitzer, its firepower is increased by 5%. So we're already looking at a firepower increase by 5% from the mid-range tech, and from the end tech we're looking at potential load time reduction. So we should probably gear the artillery piece towards these two pieces of tech, and we should have officers that reflect that as well. So naturally we're going to want muzzle brakes on there, as that is going to reduce the artillery load time. There's also the damage intensity and the firepower increase buffs that you're going to want to get out of this tree. But realistically, outside of these immediate three, we're not going to be really interested in anything else. I'm going to draw your attention towards the attributes page once more. And you'll notice right in the bottom here it says fortification multiplier of 300%. So when we're attacking a base, we're going to get a 300% damage increase from this unit attacking fortification. Now that also includes infantry when they are in bunker mode, so this also is a good defensive unit against things like infantry. It's a good defensive unit anyway, just by the virtue of the fact this thing hits like a goddamn truck. So, as always, again, we are interested in this little blue bar, the little bar underneath the picture, because it tells us about the unit and it tells us the sort of things that we need to know. So obviously we have siege, capable of dealing huge amounts of damage towards fortification. That we're already aware of, as we're getting a 300% bonus that we've found out through the attributes page. We've got enhanced blast damage, deals blast damage to all visible units within the map grid, regardless of whether or not the direct attack hits its target. Modern howitzers deal 50% additional blast damage. So that's fairly self-explanatory. I did cover this in the previous howitzer video when we covered the Martyr howitzer, but in case you missed that, we'll just cover it again quickly. So when you send a troop out of the base, it covers one map grid, and that troop will consist of, say, 5 MBTs. Next to those MBTs will be a little multiplication sign and a number indicating how many units can replace that unit if it is destroyed. All the units that are firing and that can be damaged are represented in that map grid. So blast damage, instead of affecting one unit at a time, like in tank-to-tank battles, if you observe the tanks and the helicopters firing at each other, they will fire from unit to unit. and that unit in that troop will receive damage. You can zoom in and watch it in real time as the individual health bars drop. With blast damage, even if you don't hit the main target, you deal splash damage within the map grid. So as a result, you're going to still damage every single unit in that map grid. This means if you have enough blast damage, you can effectively wipe out all of the units in one go with very little effort. And if you do strike a target within the map grid, then you're going to deal even more damage to that particular unit within that troop. So, what else are we looking at? Is the camp bonus. Now this is obviously where everything makes a difference, where we're going to be looking at which howitzer we want, for what reason, and for how we're going to use it. The camp bonus here is higher damage to fortification than howitzers from other camps. So if you're going on the attack, this howitzer is definitely the one you want to pick. Now obviously we're all going to at some stage leave our bases. Try as I might to sit in my base all the time, I can't get away with that. I know there are some of us out there that try just to sit in our bases and do nothing. I am one of those people. I am not going to apologize for that. But every now and again we do need to leave our bases, and when we do need to attack stuff. And howitzers are really good at destroying enemy bases, plain and simple. And the Liberty howitzer is king of that. Out of all of the artillery pieces, it's definitely a toss-up between the RL and the Lib gun as to whether or not you're going to hit the base and flatten it. Its load time operates differently to the RL, and it counters infantry just the same, but it doesn't receive the bonus multiplier that the RL does, specifically towards infantry. So you're relying on pure damage. And just for contrast, an 8.1 howitzer at silver is 1.46 million. Versus the RL at 1.1 million. So obviously it's going to be dealing more damage. However, the buff that you would receive against the infantry is obviously going to allow you to deal more with the RL. And with the RL, you've got to have with an RL in a protracted fight against a base, you're fighting against that load time. So you need to use all the tricks in the book to bring that load time down in order to really capitalize on that 350%. And that extra 50%, that's probably not going to cover the gap of 300k in power. Sorry, but it probably isn't. So when we're looking at the Lib gun, we can look at it from two perspectives. We can look at it from a defensive perspective, where we use it effectively as a defensive weapon. We can look at it from an attacking perspective, where we use it to absolutely unload hate upon an enemy base. There's a correction I need to make from last week, but also there's a bit of information I learned, which is relevant to artillery. And it's referring to this chap. And if you were following the comment section in the last video, Sky Angel pointed out that you should probably have Venturer first rather than Eye of Providence. And I said, hang on, it depends quite heavily on how this specific skill is applied. And Eye of Providence's skill is increases the officer's skill boost of this officer's troop against hostile bases by 40% when leading an artillery troop. And this led us on to a bit of a conversation about different things regarding artillery officers. But what I did was I was like, oh, hang on a second, why don't I just see if there's another skill out there which is similar to this? And there is. And it's worded ever so slightly different, with the exception of this bit, which is worded exactly the same. And when you compare the two side by side, you can safely infer that leading a troop means that they are either captain or aide. It's not exclusive to captain, it's not exclusive to aide, they just have to be in the troop. So that means when you're using a howitzer to attack, as rightly pointed out, you generally want your highest attack to go first, generally speaking. And in the terms of Eye of Providence and Venturer, the combination should be Venturer and Eye of Providence. And that's down to a few things. Now, yes, Eye of Providence gets a 40% bonus on top of his, but, and I genuinely forgot about this, this is a 15% skill boost increase. So this means that Venturer is going to deal more damage than Eye of Providence. But however, I do stand by the fact that you should probably have Venturer and Eye of Providence on this gun if you are looking to attack an enemy base. It's really not up for discussion. The amount of skill damage you'll be producing will absolutely level a base. Okay, so this is post-recording of the deep dive video, and some of you might now be wondering, why the hell have I got a battle report open? Well, during this video I kind of said you might want Venturer, you might want Eye, and you might want to see how well they go together on the Liberty Howitzer for an attack. Now, by coincidence today, I received a message from Dirty Dymo 3. He wasn't aware that I make YouTube videos. He wasn't aware that I was actually recording and editing a video specifically around the subject he wanted to discuss with me, which was Venturer and Eye on a Liberty Howitzer. 38 seconds the combat lasted for. The gun done 91.3 million and it done 431 million in skill damage. So that gives us a total of 522.3 million damage in the allotted time of 38 seconds, which gives us roughly 13.7 million damage per second as a unit. Now, I know what you're thinking, but surely he must be in gold. No, he is in silver, however it is unrestricted. He was kind enough to send me the information through. So, as you can see here, thanks to my handy little browser, we in fact have an 8.2 gun spitting out 9.1 million firepower. He was also kind enough to share the parts page with us, so we can see it is classic complete at 100 classic with no wrenches in modern, and gold plus parts on the barrel and in the one in the slot 4, and we've got one in the slot 3, although it's not camp specific. It doesn't really affect the firepower too much unless you have modern artillery completed. To prove he had it awakened, he was then kind enough to send me the screenshot of Eye of Providence being aid, and you can also see here what skills he's using, and you can also see here that he has Venturer awakened already, and that you can see the skills he also has trained in here. The damage that you can levy on top of a base through this combination is nothing short of pure insanity. So where does that leave us in terms of our setup? Well, I don't know. It's thrown a spanner in my works because I hadn't planned on going back to 4 artillery systems, and now it's kind of looking like 4 artillery systems is great, and I've just spent all of those statues on Havoc, so it's kind of hard for me to justify losing the helicopter so soon. But at the same time, that's a lot of damage. That's a hell of a lot of damage. And yes, that's unrestricted. He says it was unbuffed. I'm inclined to believe him. I know how the game mechanics work. I'm pretty confident that that was an unbuffed attack, and if that was a buffed attack, even still, that's insane. That's pulling insane amounts of damage in silver. Silver unrestricted. Now I play silver restricted. Obviously, we can only go up to a point, but if you're looking to dislodge whales in your silver games, this is now pretty much the only way you're going to do it. The amount of damage that these things can now apply to an enemy base. I mean, I thought my setup was good prior to this. I knew this was going to be better. I did not know it was going to be this much better. I genuinely didn't. There's no way of telling how effective your damage intensity versus fortifications is going to be until it's tested. Unless you're going to be amazing with numbers and sit here with like a degree in maths, you're probably not going to bother to work it out. So I just want to extend another thanks in this video, because I believe we already have one. Another personal thanks to Dirty Dime as well as Angel for your assistance, the pair of you in this video. And it was unusual to see such a result. I mean, I didn't. I'm now going to try and cram this into a video somehow, and just put it out there. The L4 restricted is due to start in less than 4 hours. I haven't even started the editing process for this one. I'm still halfway through the PvP one, because I'm sifting through 3 months worth of PvP footage to find the decent stuff. I might just chuck it in the bin now. Sorry. Now, if we're talking defensively, there's a little trick that you can pull.
Without hatred.
We've got Argent Flame. He is Garrison, and he has a couple of neat abilities, namely the 25%. But Stinger Fist. Now, if you've obviously got the RL and the Lib Gun, you're going to want to decide whether or not you want more skill damage, or if you want Stinger Fist's bunker ability to be applied before the ATG fires. Now, I've chosen the latter. That's why he's on the RL. And it's why my RL is mixed both attack and defend. However, if you do put him on the Lib Gun with Argent Flame first, both of these guys have skill damage that deals splash damage. Both of them have Garrison abilities, and Stinger Fist also increases the base damage resistance and damage intensity of the unit as it's firing out of the base. So this combination is also good on the attack. It's not brilliant on the attack, but I mean, let's be fair, we all know that Stinger Fist absolutely slaps when he's attacking a base anyway, just by virtue of the amount of skill damage he's doing. And if you're giving him a 25% boost when he's in the field, and that's before you've charged the artillery with a tactical card, we know what the outcome is, and it's not pretty. So if I was looking for a defensive option, say I had just one artillery piece and it was the Lib Gun, I would most certainly choose Argent Flame and Stinger Fist. And if I was looking for a more offensive option, it would definitely be Venturer and Eye of Providence. So my closing thoughts on the Lib Gun. If Argent Flame is your staple artillery officer, this is your staple artillery unit. There's no reason for you to not have one. It deals 300% bonus damage to bases. It counters infantry. It's exceptionally good as a field unit. It's exceptionally good as a defensive unit in the right officer's hands. and it's exceptionally good as an attacking unit. I personally haven't... I've got a bit of a graphical glitch there. It's my plane. I believe due to the flexibility of this gun, if I was left with a single choice of would I rather have just, if I had to choose just one artillery piece, and I could only use one artillery gun, I think due to its flexibility I would have to go with the Liberty Howitzer. It's got the multipliers in the right place, it's got a lower load time than the Martyr gun, it's comparable in its firepower to the Martyr gun, it's got better range than the RL. Defensively it's going to hit harder with the correct officers attached, and offensively it's going to help sink a base pretty quickly. So yeah, you'd have to obviously pair the officers towards what you want to do more. Anyway, I've been the Smoking Cheddar, you've been patient. As always, the link to the Discord will be in the description box down below. It should work now. If you look at ones from later videos, I ain't going to bother updating them. They won't work, so don't bother trying. Remember, if you want to join in the degeneracy, just to put a pizza at the bottom of the rules page to say that you've at least attempted to look at them. Just send me an at in there. Come talk to me, whatever. You see me playing Helldivers, come play Helldivers. I play many other games, I don't just play this. I play this a lot, but I don't play just this. Oh, that's a point. Before I leave, if you are this far into the video, it means you're probably a bit of a nerd for what I have to say. So this is just for you guys who make it this far into the video. I quit streaming in January. Now, obviously, we've got 1,000 subscribers coming up. I might do something, I might not. And there's also the longevity of this game to take into consideration. If you look back through my videos, through my content that I've live streamed, games very rarely last more than 2 years for me, which means in this case we're about halfway through the cycle. So if there's something you want to see in the future, or you want to see me live stream when we hit 1,000, comment away. Come into Discord and tell me. Just let me know. If there isn't, I won't be offended. I'll go back to having 2 people watch my videos. It's not about the views, it's not about anything else. I just do this as a side thing for a bit of fun. But I'm thinking of playing something else. I don't know what. I'm just to clarify to those of you now panicking who are this far into it, I'm not quitting Warpath anytime soon. Like I said, this game's got at least another year before I get bored of it to the point where I don't want to play it anymore. But just tell me, yeah, like if there's something you wanna see me play, even a little bit, just let me know. I have a lot of Steam games. I like to play games. Every now and again I like to talk about games. Anyway, that was for you special 3 or 4 that make it to this far. You guys are so weird. Just you watch my dying words as I hit the no record button. Or sorry, as I hit the stop record button, the no record button. I'm an idiot.